Deadlock just released a massive balance update for Halloween. A lot of characters got nerfed and buffed. Some items got absolutely gutted. Goodbye, E-Shift. And we are gonna go over the biggest winners and losers of the patch. And by the end of this video, you will know if your character is still viable and what exactly you can do to keep on winning games and having fun in Deadlock. Let's get right into it. Okay, overall, item changes are pretty small. Not super big in general. Like, not a lot of buffs to items in general. I would have hoped they would have adjusted some items more, but they adjusted some of the outliers in this patch. And the main thing about this patch that I really need to mention, if you have been living under a rock or not been playing, or if you have been playing against this item, Ethereal Shift got hard nerfed. And when I say hard nerfed, I mean it is now a 45-second cooldown instead of a 20-second cooldown, okay? So it more than doubled the cooldown, and before anyone says anything, 100% deserved. That item was stupid, and by the way, spoilers, it is still stupid. It's still one of the best 6k items in the game. It's just a bit less stupid. Because now, you will probably only be able to use it once in a fight, right? The other changes to it are really not that big. The movement speed you get while using it is now only 3 milliseconds, okay? So you can move around a bit, like your movement is slower in E-Shift. And another like slight nerf, you cannot target your allies in E-Shift anymore with something like Rescue Beam, okay? Not really the biggest deal, and I want you to understand, people see the number and they think, oh wow, 20 seconds to 45, that's crazy, right? But the effect is still the exact same, right? It's still an insane item, like the effect is still crazy. It still gives you spirit power, spirit resist, right? And movement speed, okay? And it still makes you invulnerable for 4 seconds. Yeah, this is like a big deal if you're playing like Victor and you had E-Shift and Transcendent cooldown, right? Because then you would use it multiple times in a fight and it was absolutely stupid. So this is definitely a nerf to Victor and a nerf to like characters like Pocket and Mina, right? That can abuse the fact that they want Transcendent cooldown anyways, so they bought E-Shift and they would perma cycle their cooldowns, right? E-Shift, teleport, E-Shift, teleport, and they would never die, right? So it is a big nerf, but it's still a core item on those characters and it's probably still broken overall. Liam is ruining my video and making a lot of noises. This is the biggest change to anything that is not heroes or maps. In fact, it's the only change. So now if you shoot someone while they're jumping on the thing, they get stunned. They will still fly. They will still fly, but they can't control their velocity anymore, okay? And their trajectory. So that means stuff like air strafing to the left doesn't work anymore, right? Or air strafing to the right doesn't work anymore. And obviously they also can't dash, right? So this makes escaping over vents a lot weaker. There is a 0.6 second grace period. So you really need to make sure to shoot the enemy or hit them with any damage while... That actually hit him. While they are instantly on the jump pad, because if you don't do it, yeah, if you miss the initial window of 0.6 seconds, it will do nothing, okay? So this is not a hard nerf. Vents are still a really good way to get away, but if you pay attention and you're the chaser, that means you will catch up easier, is what I'm saying, okay? You still need to make sure you jump on the jump pad right after them, right? So you can follow them and then they're stunned. Because if I just shoot them, and I'm not on the jump pad, he can still get away, right? Because he's still flying far, okay? So this is a really, really good change. And it's gonna make vents a bit weaker. Vents were the best way to escape in the game until now. But yeah, this makes them a bit weaker, which is a really good change. It's probably the best change in general on this in this patch. Okay, back to items. There's a few items that got adjusted down quite significantly. So first thing is... they did nerf, where is it? Mystic Shot. Mystic Shot got over a 10% nerf, okay? The damage is now 45 instead of 50. And the reason it says 50 here is there's still scaling on the ability, okay? So if you have Spirit Power, you do more damage with Mystic Shot. The scaling actually got a bit better, but that means Mystic Shot in lane is a lot weaker. And it is quite a lot, right? 45 instead of 55 is quite a lot. That's like the same damage as a headshot booster does on base. The only reason you would want to buy Mystic Shot now over a headshot booster, if you want to harass in lane, is because you want the spirit power or the fact that Mystic Shot still has no fall-off damage, right? So you can still damage people on a very long distance for the full damage. But I think if you want to harass Headshot Booster is just a better choice in most cases now, because it's half the price for the same damage, right? And it's also easier to use, by the way, right? Like, Headshot Booster does not go on cooldown if you miss it, right? If you buy Headshot Booster and you miss the head, it doesn't go on cooldown, whereas on Mystic Shot, if you miss the shot, it's gone. And it's funny, I'll predict this now, next patch we'll see a nerf to Headshot Booster again. Because, like, early damage in lane is really strong. If you win the lane, you win the game. If you play it properly. So, quite significant nerf to Mystic Shot. Then Warp Stone got nerfed by a tiny bit. It's now only 35% bullet resist instead of 40. The issue is bullet characters right now are terrible, in case you just tuned in for this video and you haven't played in a while. They actually nerfed the last two that were considered gun carries. And that's really the biggest change with this patch. Gun is fucking dog shit. Infernus was like kind of the last bastion of gun, right? At least like shooting over a long period of time. And Gundorman was. And both of those characters, spoilers, got hit hard. But let's go over the rest of the items real quick. Capacitor got a slight nerf. Fire rate went from 8 to 5 bonus. And the cooldown went from 40 to 60. It's still a crazy item. But it probably won't get bought because nobody's gonna play gun characters. Well, if you do, you wanna buy Capacitor is my point. But gun characters in general and fast fire characters are actually really weak in this meta. Because Yoshi doesn't know what he's doing. Guardian Ward slight nerf, 5-second cooldown increase. Barriers got hit quite a bit. So the funny thing is, Reactive Barrier, they only up the cooldown by 2 seconds. So it's basically the same item. Whereas on Spirit Shielding and Weapon Shielding, they nerfed the health. So these items got worse and Reactive Barrier is the same. So now, you probably just buy Reactive Barrier in most games, right? Especially if you run any Spirit character or Spirit scaling, which you will, because this is Spirit meta. Scaling, Reactive Barrier is just better now than Spirit Shielding and Weapon Shielding. So, I mean, it's not the biggest deal. It's only 25x less health when they proc. But, you know, you bought them early in lane. That's what they were good for. And it does matter, right? It's slight nerfs, but I think Reactive is just better now. So, I want an apology from all the Fortitude defenders. In fact, I'm going to call out Deathy here, okay? Deathy in his video, in his first reactions video, said, I don't know why Fortitude got buffed. It's a dogshit item, and it still is. They lowered the cooldown until the healing kicks in from 14 to 13 seconds. This item is dogshit. That's why it got buffed. I was right. At least statistically, Yoshi can clearly see in his stats that Fortitude is underperforming. I think this item is still absolute bait. I still would not buy it unless you're on Calico, because on Calico you really benefit from the movement speed. But I always say this, if you want health or movement speed, you either buy barriers that give you like the same health for half the price, or you buy movement speed like Enduring Speed, which is still a crazy item, right? So Fortitude, slight buff, doesn't matter. I think this item is dog shit on most characters. Don't buy it. Trophy Collector! Oh no, man. I can already see the comments on the YouTube video, bro. I was right. In that Trophy Collector video I made, where I explained how dogshit the item is, I was right, because this item got a very significant buff. They increased the souls per minute per stack from 25 to 30. If you can't do math, that is an increase by 69%. Don't correct me in the comments, it's 69% higher. You get a lot more souls per stack. On max level, this means instead of 400 souls a minute, you get 480, okay? It's a big deal, and I hate to say this, this might make Trophy Collector buyable on supports in lower rank-ish games. When I say low rank, I mean all the way up to Phantom or Ascendant. Most Eternus games or High Ascendant games only last like 25 to 30 minutes right now. So you still don't get enough value out of Trophy Collector. But if you're lower rank and you're just starting out, I hate that I'm saying this, but if you are a newbie or a new player or an intermediate player, can we just skip to the next? Okay, it's a Bible item, okay? It's a Bible item on low rank. I still won't buy it. But for you, little Ascendant newbie, okay, Ascendant probably is still not Bible. For you, little Oracle newbie, buy the item. If it's good on your character, okay? I think you can buy it on Molten Krill, I think you can buy it on Dynamo. If your games last longer than 30 minutes on average, you can buy Trophy Collector and actually make it worth it. Majestic Leap. Cooldown increase, not a big deal. Like, the rest of these changes are very small. Higher cooldown on Majestic Leap, higher cooldown on Divine Barrier. This item is still crazy, by the way. It's like a cooldown increase by 5 seconds. They buffed Rusted Barrel again. They gave it another 10 bonus health. Might not seem like a lot, but it's now 70, okay? Like, this item is like giving more health, like it's getting more and more health. It's now giving almost as much health as rebuttal. This item has been buffed over and over. It is a good item to buy in lane now, in my opinion. Against gun characters, okay? Which brings me to my main point. I don't think Yoshi understands that the reason people buy this item, or don't buy this item, is that no gun character is good. Right? Gun does no damage in lane. That's why people don't buy Rusted. And instead of realizing that gun should maybe do a bit more damage, we're buffing gun counter items. Probably the most questionable choice in this patch. I'm not saying it's like a big deal, okay? It's a counter item to gun characters, but gun is dog shit. That's why people don't buy Rusted Barrel, Yoshi. You have to understand this, okay? So, if the enemy has a gun character like Haze, right? Or like Infernus Wraith, you can very easily buy this on support characters, and it will fuck them in lane. It's really good. It's a 20-second cooldown. It gives good stats, and it can upgrade into Disarming Hex later, which, by the way, is also got buffed multiple times. So I want to say Rusted Barrel is a big winner, and as a consequence, Disarming Hex is also a big winner in this patch, because it's just like easier to get to it. So this is the final nail in the coffin for gun characters, basically. If you're struggling with gun characters, buy this item. My beloved, man. This is my favorite item on Billy. But it's also a favorite item for many. This item got nerfed quite hard. Spirit Snatch, okay? The duration got decreased, okay? So when you use Spirit Snatch on an enemy, right, you would do spirit damage, but you would also get more resist and more spirit power, right? You would steal it from the enemy. And this effect used to last for 14 seconds, and now it's only 10. That's quite a big nerf. And in addition, the spirit damage this does got nerfed from 75 to 50. That's a 33% nerf in terms of damage. So I want to say this item is the biggest loser in the patch. I think it's quite a situational item now. Like, it's definitely a lot weaker than before, I want to say. I think it's probably still very solid on melee characters. You will probably see this less on characters like Pocket, right? Like this item used to be bought by so many different characters. And this is definitely a nerf to Billy, Abrams, right? Calico, I want to say. But also a nerf to Pocket, or like characters that use this to like get one sneaky melee in to get more resist and more spirit power. Viscous too, yeah. Other than E-Shift, this item got hit the hardest in the entire patch. So overall, for items, not that many changes. I think the more interesting thing to look at is characters. There's some really good changes in here and some really terrible ones, okay? Calico was obviously really strong. Last patch, she did get nerfed, okay? The Gloom Bombs now have a longer cooldown. They do less damage. It went from 55 to 45, okay? And the scaling also got nerfed. There was one compensating buff, which I don't know why we're doing this. Like, Calico is OP. Why are we giving her a compensating buff? So now, if you hit multiple Gloom Bombs, the damage of every Gloom Bomb but the first one is 65%. The way it used to work is if you hit 2 Gloom Bombs, the first one would do max full damage, and the second one would do 50. And then every Gloom Bomb after would do 50, right? Which is up to a total of 7, okay? And now, every bomb can do up to 65% extra damage. Which means, in reality, if you hit all 7 or 6 Gloom Bombs, I did the math, you will do more damage than before, assuming you have like a mid-game build ready, right? In lane, less damage for sure. It's definitely a nerf overall. But mid and late game, you do more damage with the Gloom Bombs if you hit all of them. Assuming you hit 6 or 7. The funny thing is, yeah, Calico has that combo where she can guarantee Gloom Bomb hits, right? If you don't fuck up, where you just buy Arctic Blast, right? And you go in and you make sure you hit all of them, and this still hurts like hell. I'm happy that they nerfed Calico, but why are we giving her the same / more damage if you hit the combo? Which the combo is not super hard to do, right? I guess I want to reward people for hitting all the Gloom Bombs, but I think that's kind of weird in general, because Gloom Bombs is an RNG ability. Let's be honest, the only time Gloom Bombs are not RNG is if you're melee range, right? In which case, you will hit all of them anyways if you don't fuck up, right?
The dog will claim them.
So, it's a weird change. It's more RNG if you think about it, right? Because if you use this like mid-range, if you get lucky, it does a lot of damage. If you get unlucky, it does like no damage. So, I don't really like the change. I don't really like the way they did it. Calico didn't need nerfs, and I think overall she's a bit weaker. But when I say a bit weaker, I mean she's still like probably an SD character. So Calico, not really a winner or loser. First, pretty big loser is Dorman, but only really if you played Gun Dorman, okay? So Gun Dorman, the headshot damage got reduced by 25%, okay? So the entire gun dormant combo, where you put them on the wall and then you hit 3 headshots, right? Because you can, got nerfed quite hard. Which, for the record, makes sense, right? It was stupid. Dormant should never be a gun character. I think most people in the community would agree with this, right? Like, I'm sure some people had fun with it, but Dormant is supposed to be a spirit / supporty nuker, I want to say, right? So the gun Dormant playstyle really didn't make sense. It really didn't make sense that gun Dormant did more damage than gun carries. And yeah, I'll say this now, it doesn't mean Dormant is unplayable. In fact, he got a compensating buff. The scaling on his 1 got increased. So if you build a bit more spirit / hybrid, you actually do a lot more damage with the call bell, okay? So, nerfs, and I think the base bullet, let me check. Yeah, the base bullet damage also got decreased by a tiny bit. Okay, Drifter got buffed. In fact, it's the only gun character in the game that got buffed, and they did buff his gun, okay? So Drifter does more base bullet damage by a tiny bit, okay? It's like 3%, and the bullet damage growth got increased too. It's very tiny buffs, and the funny thing is the isolated kills got nerfed. You only get 4% now, bonus weapon damage instead of 5, which makes no sense to me, because this character was bad before, and I still think he's kind of weak, but it's a step in the right direction. I want to cautiously say that this character is probably quite a bit more playable, at least in low rank, okay? Once you get to the highest rank, Drifter will still have the same issue, where people group up, so you won't get a lot of value out of your blood scent, but he's better, okay? And as a gun carry, I think you can play him more now, right? The longer the game goes, the better he is now compared to the last patch. So Drifter, first kind of winner-ish, right? Drifter is like the guy that got 3rd place in the race. You know, it's like, oh, like I'm on the podium, but I'm not really winning, right? Next up, Dynamo. Dynamo got a fire rate increase on Quantum Entanglement. Yeah, guys, Gun Dynamo is back. So obviously this also works on the people he quantum teleports with, right? And the cooldown of the aura is also shorter now by a few seconds. It's like, what? Like 3 seconds. I mean, Dynamo wasn't super good before, right? I like that they buff him, and I like that they give some power to his other abilities and not Black Hole, because Black Hole is already really strong, right? Doesn't really matter. I think he's a bit better, probably. Biggest loser of the patch. And of course it's a gun character, because Yoshi hates anyone in Deadlock that shoots his gun. And don't get me wrong, Infernus was really broken before, okay? I'm not saying he wasn't. But spoilers, the other broken characters got nerfed way less than this guy. His bullet growth damage got reduced from 0.12 to 0.08. That's a 33% nerf to his bullet growth. 33% damage nerf to his bullet growth. His flame dash got nerfed from 35, the tier 2 upgrade, to 30. That's another... I'm bad at math. Okay, do it yourself. It's another quite big nerf to Flame Dash. The Afterburn spirit reduction damage on the enemy is now only 20 instead of 25. And the Afterburn tier 3 got nerfed from 28 extra DPS to 26. Anytime a gun character is meta, Yoshi makes them unplayable. I think he's still gonna be playable-ish, but he went from S tier to like B tier at best, maybe even C tier. Because Capacitor was an item he was using a lot, got nerfed, and everything about him got weaker, right? Everything. All of it. His gun, his burn, and his flame dash. Like, everything. And I don't know why Yoshi does this, but they only do it to fucking gun characters. Because now look at Kelvin, right? The most broken character in the game for the last, like, few months. Guys, we increased the cooldown of the ult by, like, 20 seconds. Oh, no, guys. Oh, Kelvin unplayable. Kappa fucking Ross. Still fucking absolutely broken character, okay? He got, like, a base regen nerf by, like, 1. And, his, headshot bonus damage is, like, a bit less. It's, like, 25 now. The headshot reduction reduced from minus 20 to minus 25. So he does a bit less with his damage with his gun. And he got a bit higher cooldown on his ult. Like, what are we doing, Yoshi? Like, this character is still Thanos, easily S tier. What are we doing? I am a bit upset with the balance. Because they... I feel like the devs are biased. I think they want us to play Dota. Which, I love Dota. But they just hate gun characters. Like, Infernus gets gutted. And Kelvin gets a slap on the wrist. Paradox got a nerf to her base bullet damage by a tiny bit, and her swap cooldown got increased by an entire 5%. 5 seconds, sorry guys. So now the cooldown is 60 instead of 55 on max level, guys. Unplayable. Yeah, okay, it's still a SD character. Again, another slap on the wrist for another character that is arguably more broken than Infernus, right? Pick or ban every game in pro play for the last few months, or weeks at least. And yeah, super slight nerfs, completely broken still. Now, you might ask if you're watching, okay, maybe at least the devs addressed Mina and Pocket, the other two spirit nukers that are, you know, running the game right now. Nope, no changes. Arguably, they're a bit worse because they both use E-Shift, and E-Shift got worse. 7. We're so back, guys. We are so back. The ball scaling is now 0.55 instead of 0.43. Okay? So, I mean, it is quite a big buff to ball damage. I will probably experiment with ball builds. This might make 7 somewhat playable. Maybe. Like, maybe he's not going to be the worst character in the game anymore. But I would be surprised if he goes above B tier in this. I want to say he's still C tier probably. Or low B tier at best, is my prediction so far. But it's good that I like that they're nerfing buffing Ball, because Ball was definitely the worst ability of 7 up until this point. So at least we can play a different playstyle. And I do think, you know, while Nathan was running Ball builds for the last like few months and they were always dog shit, now it's probably the best build in the game. Like, you know, Ball builds are probably the meta. So yeah, because everything else about the character is dog shit. But yeah, Ball build, probably good to farm, probably good damage. Shiv, slight nerf, nothing major. His knockback on the... I don't even know how to do the Shiv movement tech. His knockback on the shotgun got nerfed. I don't know how to do the tech. I don't care. I hate this character. He has a bit less movement in terms of like getting away and abusing the shotgun to get to places he shouldn't be. Yeah. I mean, he's still an SD character, by the way, or a high A tier. Not really a big change. Victor got nerfed. Keep in mind, the biggest nerf to Victor was the E-Shift change, because Victor needs E-Shift, right? That's like the item that makes Victor work. In addition to that, they changed the pain battery level 1 and 2. So now the level 1 applies slow and the level 2 applies damage, which means pain battery is going to do less damage in lane. And in addition to that, he got a nerf to Aura of Suffering, actually twice, okay? So the base max damage is lower and the tier 2 max damage is lower, okay? So he just will do less damage with his aura, right? That also means he's gonna do less damage to himself, but that's a big nerf to Victor, right? That was his main damage output that he had. I wanna say this character got hit quite hard. I wanna say, together with Infernus, he's probably the biggest loser of the patch. Yeah, I know Viper is up next. So Viper got a slight change. Her scaling on the... Yo, can you stop talking? Screwjab dagger. The damage and the on-stack damage does more in terms of spirit scaling, okay? So like a hybrid Viper that uses some spirit items will be more viable. In fact, we're already seeing Vipers run a few more purple items, and I think this is the way to go. Like, she has some really good scaling on everything, right? Like the max venom damage is 2.8 times on lethal venom. Screwjab has good scaling now. Ulta has good scaling. Like this character, I want to say we're gonna see her more, maybe even in pro play. Like she's getting to that point. She's already really, really good in lane, and laning by itself is like the biggest indicator for success right now in the current meta. So Viper, big W. And then Warden got 2 slight buffs. His base bullet damage got increased. Thank you, Yoshi. We'll take it. It's not a lot. He now does 16.2 damage per bullet on base instead of 15. And the binding word radius got increased from 90 to 20 meters. Really not the biggest deal. A meter in this game is not very big. Just like my dick. That rhymed. I don't know why I said that. Anyways. Is it gonna make Gun Warden playable? I might try it out. I think he's still probably a weak character. I want to say he's still C tier. And I just realized I forgot McGinnis. McGinnis did get buffed, and it's quite a significant buff. It doesn't look like a lot in the patch notes. Sorry, McGinnis players, I don't hate you. I literally forgot about it. So, the Healing Spectre now lingers for a second, okay? Healing. Which means you can tap in and out of this and get up to a second of healing. And that also means at the end, it lasts for another second, right? So it's a second increase in healing as well. That's a big deal. It's really, really good. okay? This might, I'm not even kidding, I'm not trying to overhype this. This might make McGinnis a lot better. Because in a lot of fights, you want to move out of the healing for a tiny bit. And then step back in, and you can do that now. Does it not? Oh, okay, I was wrong. Okay, correction. At the end, there's still no lingering. But you can tap in and out of it for up to a second and still get the healing effect. Which is a big deal. Trust. Like, it's a bigger deal than most. Is it going to make McGinnis meta? Again, McGinnis I rated D tier in the last patch. And I don't think she's going to change much. Maybe she's C tier now. So, TLDR. Big winners. Anyone that didn't get nerfed that was S tier. Abrahams. Not punished at all, basically. Not affected by anything but Spirit Snatch. It's funny that the big winner is a character that didn't even get touched, right? So big winner, I want to say Abrams. I want to say Drifter got quite a bit better. And Kelvin is actually a winner in this patch, in my opinion. It's a winner because he didn't get nerfed nearly enough. He's still S tier. Big losers. Infernus by far number one. Like, Infernus got hard nerfed. I think Victor probably not hit quite as hard as Infernus, funnily enough. Still good, but the E-Shift abuser meta, I'll say this now, and this is a prediction of mine, I think it's still an insane item. You'll still see this bought on every good Mina and Pocket in the game. Because usually one E-Shift is all they need, right? They use their one ability to escape, and then if they caught, they use E-Shift, and then they use their ability that just came off cooldown again. Right? They won't be able to do it infinitely, but it's still a waste of time a lot of the time to chase after a Pocket or a Mina that have E-Shift because they won't die. Like, the E-Shift nerf, as I mentioned at the start of the video, actually not that big. It's the same effect. It's the same effect. And yes, it just means you can only use it once a fight. And it's still a crazy item if you can only use it once a fight, for the record. We'll have to see about 7. I think 7 and Drifter could be low-key, at least not useless anymore, right? I rated them useless before. They might be more playable, at least in pub play. So I'll give 7 and Drifter a participation award. Maybe Warden, but I don't think so. I think, if anything, Drifter and 7, the numbers look a bit more solid. And big losers, every gun character in the game. Because Yoshi hates people that shoot their gun. Yoshi is an anti-American. Yoshi's probably Canadian. Actually, now I think about it. Because now the last gun carry is gone, right? Plus, Capacitor got nerfed, which is good, by the way, right? It was too strong, but that was like the last OP item any gun character has. So now, which gun carry do you even pick? I'm like curious, genuinely asking, and yeah, let me know in the comments if you're watching the YouTube video. I don't know which gun character you can even play anymore. Like, maybe Ivy? The thing with Wraith is, she's just too weak compared to all the Spirit Nukers. She didn't get buffed, right? In fact, Wraith got a bit weaker because Capacitor Rush on Wraith was really common, right? It was like one of her main power spikes other than Surge of Power and Mercurial. So, like, arguably, all the characters that wanted to use Capacitor got even worse. So, like, yeah, Ivy too though, right? Like, Ivy wanted Capacitor. Yeah, we're still in a Spirit Nuke meta, and that's the one thing I'm upset about in this patch. There are some outliers that had to be addressed, like E-Shift and Victor, and I'm happy about that. And I'm genuinely happy that they nerfed Infernus. But it's really crazy to me that they nerfed the last super viable gun character, and all the Spirit Nukers and tanks in S tier are still the exact same, if not stronger. And that's kind of frustrating. And I want Yoshi to message me, Yoshi, I'll balance you your game for free for a patch, okay? If it's good, you can hire me after. I love Valve. I love your game, genuinely. I know I trash talk Deadlock a lot, but anyone from Valve watching, yo, please stop listening to Deathy. That's a joke. I love Deathy. But please, look into Spirit characters. Please. Okay, bye. Enjoy the new patch. Abuse Spirit Nukers.